Hello everyone, this is Campus Live TV and your host tonight is Talent Mvurumutiya aka Taltap, and I'm so glad to introduce you to our second edition of our talk show. Yes, you guessed it right, it's called The Hard Talk. And tonight we're going to be talking more about student politics, as we have a very distinguished guest in our midst. Yes, it's none other than the Zicosu president, Mr. Wilbert Muzaruwetu, and he's here tonight with us. So we're going to know more about him as he gets to explain himself and where he's coming from. Mr. President, sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
We're very honored and pleasure to have you tonight.
It's a pleasure also to be on Mr. President.
And as usual, you look smart as usual.
Thank you.
Yeah, how have been things going for
Well, it's been really hectic season, but we're trying to keep with the pace.
you? Yeah. There you heard it, folks. The man is on the show. And tonight in the building we have the Zicosu president at the University of Zimbabwe, Mr. Wilbert Muzaruwetu, and we get to know more about him tonight. So, Mr. Wilbert, our first question for tonight is, who really is Mr. Wilbert Muzaruwetu? Because we just see you in suits, we see you with all the charisma. We just want to know and get a deeper revelation of who you are.
Well, Wilbert Muzaruwetu is just a young boy. I'm in Italy, Zimbabwe province. Well, I migrated from Italy at the age of 6. Then I moved to Mange before coming to Harare. So I had experience of 3 cities in Zimbabwe, and I grew up from a poor background, where sometimes we had to fetch firewood for us to make, just breakfast probably in the morning. But then those are some of the things that motivated me to get to today. Like today, people see me wearing something, but it came a long way. So, speaking on behalf of where I was born, I was raised in an area where we were raised by a grandmother who was looking after 12 kids. I was one of the 3 youngest kids. So for us to go to school, we had to compromise on a lot of things. But like I said, those are some of the things that tailor-made us to be the person that we are today.
Oh, that's so great. So, Mr. Wilbert, judging from your background, what can you say about your vision and what inspired you most to become the person you are today?
The person I am today, or the person I'm trying to get to, because I haven't gotten where I take myself to be, I was mainly motivated by the backgrounds in which some students like me come from. Places where there's no hope, places where you have to either hustle, and not just hustle, but hustle hard. Because if you don't do that, you just impoverish the whole clan, just coming because you're already impoverished. So what made me have this zeal, energy, is basically the type of things that I was seeing surrounding me. I grew up in an area where the next people to my right or to my left were either Westerners. So this just a hellhole where I was coming from. But then I was also moving places, when you get to Sunningdales and Morningside in Ontario, you probably see that there's a greener life there. You come from a 2-bedroom house, you get to see 7 to 12 bedroom house. It motivates you to see, what should I do to get there? You get to be in those areas. I was playing cricket when I was very young. Cricket, you basically need to have a certain kit, which is full kit. You need to have pads, you need to have helmet, you need to have a box, you need to have gloves, you need to have a couple of equipment, which can be bought by high value of money, if I can say. But to me, that never stopped me to pursuing that talent. What I've learned from that is that when you go and get what you want, there are hiccups, of course. There are things that will get to you, but there's one thing. It will either mold you to be a better man, because when you go and play without everything, if you're a better student, if you're a better player, you always will make it, and people appreciate the effort that you put. So from that area, I grew up with people that were so much coming from a better background. Because cricket, if you look at it, it's just an elite sport. You get 1 or 2 people. In my clan, we were one of those 2 people that you'd say, why is he even trying? He won't even make it. But I think cricket, to me, as an English sport, it molded me to see something which is greater. Not because I wanted it, but because the whole lifestyle of it, to me, was just appealing. Then this is what brought me to do politics and student activism, because I was seeing something. Then I kept on pushing and I kept on pushing. When I When I got here for my first 2 weeks at UZ, I wanted to pursue cricket, only to find out, you know what, there are better things that you could do with life.
Yes.
Representing other people's grievances, representing other students' rights on campus.
Okay. We've got to the segment where we get to understand the background, the roots of Zicosu. So, Mr. Wilbert, we would like to know what Zicosu is all about. Can you please shed light on, are you part of Zimbabwe? Are you, so we would love it if you would share some light on that.
Well, Zicosu stands for Zimbabwe Congress of Students Union. It is a movement that is backed by a thing that says education is our birthright.
All right.
We are a union that is affiliated to the ruling party ZANU-PF, but we are not ZANU-PF.
Okay.
We just maybe subsidiary.
All right.
As I unload this to you, people mostly confuse us to be, I've heard some other words like ZANU-PF on campus, or ZANU-PF for tertiary institutions, which is not it. Right. We basically sometimes even contradict some of the things that will happen, which are so much to some extent debatable. For instance, I'll give you a notion. We all know of what was transpiring during the funeral part of the late former President of Zimbabwe.
Yes.
During that time, students were told to pack their bags and make room for the people who were coming here to mourn.
Yes.
But you know what? We stood with my union and we said we are standing for the students. Remember, the students make a total population of 17,000 on campus, the University of Zimbabwe.
Yes.
So that number, whatever the decision which was being made by the registrar of UZ or by the government, was contradicting with what we believe in, which is education is the birthright, which is also standing up for the rights of what? Of students. So we had to make a demonstration to send a strong signal so that the people in the government and the stakeholders to this institution can understand that we are not going anywhere. When we did that, that was a direct even attack or even a contradiction prior to the what? To the government ruling party. So if you tell me that we are some people on campus, I'll be telling you, we could have just said, you know what, let's just go with the flow from what we are being told to do. So we mainly put students at first, students at heart. This is why me and my team are actually running for this office, because we believe we could do so much as far as student rights are concerned on campus.
All right. You mentioned about you and your team. We'd like to know what kind of team do you have and how strong are they in upholding your policies as Zicosu?
Well, if you had seen my manifesto, if I could share with you my manifesto, you could see maybe how strong or how committed I am to this office. So my manifesto is packed with what we call 3 C's: commitment, competence, and capability. I believe in everything that we do, we should include those 3. Without commitment, you can never achieve anything. Without the capability, you can never achieve anything. Without the competence, you might achieve, but you might not achieve the best out of that thing. It's like looking for the best tent at the University of Zimbabwe in terms of Wi-Fi connectivity, since we're the most prestigious university in Zimbabwe. Yes. I believe the tent is supposed to be given to the top and the most secured in terms of efficiency and effectivity. I mean, as far as effectivity is concerned on campus, in terms of Wi-Fi and connectivity provision. This is the same thing with those 3 C's. Anything that we do, to do with accommodation, to do with student welfare, to do with student entertainment, to do with students' lifestyle, clinic, whatever health, it has to have those 3 commitment. Because I'll give you an example.
Yes.
Most people fail the first segment of their O-level mathematics, not because they can't, but because it's maybe the amount of commitment. Have you seen that people from U, they go to E, they go to D, maybe to C? It is the commitment and the persistence that you put into that give those rules and results at the end of the day. So I believe if you look at my manifesto, it shows you what we plan to do as far as policies are concerned. Of course, you could look in depth at it, but I wouldn't want to burden you looking in that. Then as far as my teams are concerned, I've got a gender balanced team. I've got a female SG, named Tarota Woodzera, and I've got 2 SGs, Mambo, aka Brenda Mazumba, and also Tifaza Matangira for SG. So we're trying to take everybody to represent the people on campus. We took people from arts, we took people from engineering, and we took people from social studies. You see, so that we can have everybody included in this whole team, so that we can also make use of great again.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I think you shed more light on that, because people always confuse ZANU-PF and Zicosu, and they tend to say that Zicosu is unaware of itself. But with the light you've shared, I think it's now all clear. So, Mr. President, sir, as Zicosu, when you're campaigning, you have so many strategies that you use, and we would like to know what strategies are you using for this particular campaign for the upcoming elections.
Well, unfortunately, because it's a talk show, I don't want to divert so much out of the things that we're focusing on. But our strategy is not to bring national politics to the student activism. Our strategy is to bring the most competent ideas and initiatives as far as student activism is concerned. National politics, as good or as bad as it can never solve much of the disputes and the problems that we have here on campus. I'll give an example. I've seen our opposition chants national politics related slogans to people. But my question is always saying, does that bring food security to the campus? Does that bring good ideas and initiatives how to run campus? Does that bring student innovation mindset, as far as on campus is concerned? Because people can't.
There's this also this other issue of chicken slice. I myself ate it, and people.
Glad you ate it.
I did eat it. I actually ate 2 of them. So, but people were later on complaining that it was bad.
Degrees Celsius.
Okay.
That is what I checked the temperatures for that particular day. At 35 degrees Celsius, nothing stays good from at least morning around 7 up until the 30th. And the good gesture that we wanted to show ended up being misconceived. It was taken the wrong way.
Exactly.
So we believe that there are some other people who actually even had good chicken, like even you're still here, we simply mean that you never had a problem with that.
Yeah.
Even I myself even had 2 pieces of that particular chicken. But I believe because we had so much of those and the temperatures, that could have brought, that whole bizarre, negative feedback. But we also have positive feedback pertaining to that. But what I had to be with students that later in the following day, we did decide to find out if we could have maybe people who were suffering from stomach aches so that we could have it on the ground that we just had 2 people who were complaining with stomach aches.
Okay. Also, as Zicosu, what can you say is the major challenge you faced so far concerning these upcoming elections?
To my perfect analysis of these elections, and also the election that have ended, is the national politics encroaching student politics. Student politics can be so much okay, fun, competent without the national politics coming to campus and showcasing. This is not a place where you come and you campaign for the national things. Good governance, we learn it here. I myself, I do political science. As far as I'm concerned, what I learn is what I try to implement here on campus.
Yeah.
So I don't want people to come here and make us, divert from the whole agenda of student politics. So the most difficult part of student activism, which I'm facing right now, is that I see national actors coming to campus and instigating use of violence on campus. I today was a victim of violence, if you look at my apples, they were just slightly hurt, This was instigated by national members who came on campus and they got then their slogans. At the code of conduct on news, we don't believe in hate speech. We don't believe in denouncing people. So when a national member like Job Wiwa did came here and denounced my name and denounced some other opposition name, it gives the people power to go and even attack.
Get to know what he's offering us if he gets into office. Mr. President said, what can you promise the students? What can you promise the University of Zimbabwe students if you're voted into office? What change can you implement on the University of Zimbabwe?
Well, firstly, I've never been a person of giving promises. I believe in practical oriented approach. I believe in making things visible through giving them. Then people can debate, this wasn't good, this is good, can you do that, can you not do that anymore? Or could you increase the volume, like they say. So firstly, I'll give you a breakdown of what I believe in what I mean by practical approach. Number one, so when the UZ SRC led by Fano Kaseki failed to bring proper entertainment to the students, it came in my mind because also as a student, it really struck me that, and sometimes you just need to chill out, have some fun. It's a Friday, you know, just have some cool breeze air,
Fresh and all.
you know.
Yeah.
So we decided with 1 or 2 stakeholders to get the likes of Ends Asher, Ticons, Revelongo, and Bishop Palmer and City.
I was actually the show and it was solid.
Thank you. So these are one of the most talked about artists and hotly contested guys in dance or in dance as far as concerned. So what we just had to do was to engage with them and tell them, you know what, we don't have much, but what we have is a crowd that likes to see you. And then we just like, you know what, if you come here, we promise to give you much of these shows. Because there are people that have sustainable business as a going concern in their mindset. They actually agree. We pay them, believe me, we pay them half of what they charge all over Zimbabwe. But because we have a couple of students, we probably love to see them. We offered that to them because they had to know that students love them. So I believe me bringing Enzo Aisha and the rest of the crew here was one of the areas of practical oriented approach that I do, you know, because I look at myself and like as a student, what would I want? Of course, I do engage students, then they get to tell me that, you know what, Mr. President, we've got a problem with entertainment, we've got a problem for the dance, we've got a problem. So those things I use oriented approach of practical, you know, like I just don't like think of ideas, then I promise you, last time I was in part 1, I had some member, you know, of a certain student union, he was saying, you political science student want to build you a library, you know, of your own. I'm not looking at the bureaucratic channel it uses. It takes you 10 to 7 days for you just to get one signature to approve you to have a color. What about starting a whole building, a foundation? You need the whole decade, you know. So basically, when people promise, it gives them the ability for them to promise anything. They can promise you paradise because they are promising, remember. So the difference with me is that I need practical oriented approach. Then I say, I've done that. What more can I do from that? So we've done entertainment. We've done food provision. I mean, like, it went on to say that those chicken slices, but we had to look in the case of giving something to the students because we understand tough times, you know, and, you know, the issue of the tax is really frustrating. I myself, you know, I got affected a couple of times, you know, so we're looking at that. So we bring things that help students, because I'm a student. What affects me probably affects a lot more people. So we go there. So my major point is to make use it great again. How do I do that? Using the 3 C's that I mentioned in my manifesto: competence, capability, and commitment. So when I engage the people outside, you know, I'm using my capability. But when I bring them and then effectively molding with the people here, there is the competence. And when I make sure that thing gets delivered, this is the commitment. Yeah, you know, because I'm committed to doing that, so I'm making sure each and every avenue I'm doing that. So I'll give you an example of the color. The color was just an idea. From an idea, we had to get stakeholders to come. From getting stakeholders to come, we had to make the show a whole lot fascinating and entertaining. And those are the things that we are probably going to be doing as this semester ends or when I get in office. We've got things to do with food security. We're saying we've approached certain ministries. We've asked them how they can help to increase capacity utilization at the UZ farms. Currently, the UZ farms operates below a certain average capacity of 60 to 75. It's below that.
So Mr. President, you're saying you're doing all these and yet you're not yet in office?
Of course. Wow. Because the idea is to get people to see that you're a competent leader. So you get to do some other things before you are voted. This, for a rational student who is at the most prestigious university, we expect them to look at those things and say, you know what, because he has done A, B, C, D, we'd like to vote for him. It comes to me and pains me that the biggest service provider as far as Wi-Fi is concerned is Tier 1. But Tier 1 is not going, it is not even established at UZ. I was about to say, well, so you might think it is established, but to some segment, it is not at UZ. You look, do a survey. I did a survey, I looked at MSU, CAT, Pindura University, all these other tertiary institutes and universities, they get their Wi-Fi connectivity by Tier 1, which is a government infrastructure, which is the biggest in the land. So why isn't they on use it? So I engaged with Tier 1, by the way, and the Tier 1, they gave me a quotation. The quotation that Tier 1 has, to my surprise, is 3 times bigger than the allocation budget by the time. So To some extent, of course, it has to do with them just having a sensitive pricing, but at the same time, it has to do with the administration not allowing competent people on campus. I see so many students that are squattered in 4 years because they're looking for connectivity.
Yes.
You know, academics, entertainment, and leisure all lingers around one thing: internet. Proper internet equals 100% movies. Proper internet equals good academic dissertation, good academic research, good academic innovation ideas. You can speak of a whole building of the innovative hub, but if the innovative hub does not have the proper functioning internet outside it, then how can people pursue in making creative ideas? Yeah. So internet has a ripple effect. It touches a lot of things. This is why my team is engaged with Tier 1. Tier 1 can be on campus at any point in time. To show that my team is committed to bring the change to user that is so much deemed by every student here. We've talked to Tier 1 to come here and have a trial run. If they give us a trial run for a 1 week running, I mean, I'm sure they'll bring the best competent setup which will make other people see that, you know what, when Tier 1 was here for that week trial run, I did download my movies faster than I used to do. I did my dissertation, or I downloaded documents much easier and faster than I did prior to that. So, excuse me, like I said, I do things, then I ask for review. Before I do things, I get to engage and ask, you know, what's bothering me as a student? What's bothering you as a classmate? What's bothering me as a stakeholder to the University of Zimbabwe? So now I'm doing a practical oriented approach as opposed to promising, because promises can be empty.
Yeah, very true. It's a lot to offer, and we are looking forward to that if you are to get into office. And Mr. President, one last question. We all know that you're the charismatic leader you are, and a lot of ladies, I believe, would want to know this question. And I also believe that most of your lady voters that are going to vote are not only going to vote because you're a good orator, or because I think there some of them are going to vote because they personally admire you.
Of course,
yeah,
of course.
Yeah. So, Mr. President, can you share with us your relationship status? Are you single at the moment?
Wow. Unfortunately, you know what, I'm live, and probably even if I like, it's going to be found, so I have to be honest with it. I'm available.
Wow.
I'm available, but just not now, because I'm so much committed in bringing the changes that UZ so much desires right now. So I'm putting all my efforts on that. Maybe after that we can look into 1 or 2 things along this avenue. I pretty much like to be the ladies' man, but then at the moment I feel like the Institute of UZ is at a great state of disruption and destructive. So we need to work on that. Then we can get to that part. After when I've won maybe elections, after I've delivered some of the things that are in my manifesto, then we can talk of probably having a machine behind or beside me.
Okay, yeah, that's so great. So, Mr. President, thank you so much for coming through. It was such an exciting pleasure to have you at the show.
Thank you so much for having me here. I think Campus Life has really given me a platform where I could share my ideas to a lot of people. I know the viewers might appreciate or might give comments and reviews, and we can work on that to have better outcome in the things that we seek to provide to the Institute. So I believe Campus Life and programs like this should be made in campus, so that we can have a great input and great innovation ideas coming, debated and talked about, so we can see how best as ladies we can be, in the near future. Who knows, maybe I might be the next people in the cabinet,
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So there you have, folks. The man is open for business. Ladies, I'm sure you took note of that. So this is the Campus Live TV, the Hard Talk, and with me tonight was the Zicosu president, Mr. Wilbert Muzaruwetu, and he was here unveiling all about himself, all about Zicosu, and I think he shed so much light about the things that we were confused about. And as we wrap up the show, last words from Mr. President. What can you say to the voters?
Well, to the voters, I'd like to appeal to them is that let us vote using competence, capability, and commitment as a criteria to choose a leader. 3 C's. On the ballot, I'm number 3. It's no way coincidence that I'm number 3 and I've got 3 C's. So you get to look at that and you get to have me at the end. 3 C's equals number 3 on the ballot for the Wilbert on Tuesday.
You had it for yourself. This is Campus Live TV, none other than a hard talk with Talent Mvurumutiya, taltap. Stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe. Cheers.